Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists, and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unease.
Hey everybody, it's Leah Riley here.
Hello, it's Megan.
Hi there, it's Amy.
So hopefully it's always a treat for the two of you when you get a text from me that says, I have something for banter tonight.
It is a treat.
I get
So-
excited.
I feel like maybe I overpromised, but I'm going to do my best because I have a story I have not told Amy and Megan, so you all get to hear it for the first time. So just a very quick scene setting is I've been extraordinarily busy in my day job, like busier than normal busy. And also I have like 3 kids, so I could be really busy at work dealing with some pretty escalated wild stuff. And then it's like, oops, I got to go pick up my kid from school and bring them to their theater class and then get back to work. I don't want to say I'm a distracted driver, but if you've ever seen the meme of Elmo driving and it's like, la la la, fuck you, that's pretty much. And a few nights ago, my kids, both Jara and Bronte, were calling me out, being like, you're so strict about who we drive with, but we drive with you. And I was like, it doesn't feel great as feedback.
Yeah.
So I've been like, I need to just be a little bit more like, okay, lock it in for safety and everything. So I'm picking up Bronte yesterday from school at the school like pickup point, and it's just a pandemonium. If you don't have kids, you don't have kids in school, picking up kids is pandemonium. We don't have school buses here either. So it's like parents are all picking up kids. So it's even more like that.
Oh, wow.
And Bronte's school services the whole county and region because it's like a charter school. So even more people are driving because they have to, like the kids, it's not as walkable and things like that. People are coming from far distances. So suffice it to say there's many cars. I'm going to be of the opinion that people were not driving their best. And I was not included in that. So I was pulling into this parking lot and people were coming out of it and they were really in the middle. Like I felt like they were taking more space than they needed. And I'm in a minivan, which is big and old. I drive a 2011 minivan. I have said I will drive it till it falls apart. I believe I'm delivering on this promise. So as I'm pulling into the parking lot, I'm like, this car is kind of crowding me too much. I'm going to have to get over. And all of a sudden I begin to hear the grinding of metal, which has happened to me before, but it wasn't a good sound. I was like crunching, scraping, sidewalk. I've gotten too close to the curb is what I have done. And my daughter was walking towards me and her eyes just keep getting bigger and bigger. And I rolled down the window and I'm like, what have I, a bar has fallen off. And I was like, a bar, I thought she meant like I'd hit like a bar and a bar had fallen off. So I start like pulling forward and it keeps dragging. And she's like, and then I'm like, is it an external bar or attached to the car? And she's like, something was attached to the car. It's mostly not attached now. And then like, she's like, Mom, people are staring. What do we do? People are staring. And I'm like, I'm just going to pull up. So I pull up. I hear like drag, 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 drag. I get out. I walk around and essentially like underneath the door to the door for the van is like a sliding door, right? Underneath it is like a piece of metal that like frames it in.
Mm.
It's all hanging and it's spread out. Like, so it's probably a good like 5.5 feet and it's like dragging, but it's attached to like 2 nails that are like connected to the wheel well.
Oh, no.
And I can see.
So is it just like hanging down and dragging on the ground?
Yes, it's dragging on the ground. It's all on the ground. It's not kind of. It's all on the ground. And not only has it fallen not under the car, it's now like out. It's like 5 feet away from the car. Like it's extended out. Like if I was like throwing my arms out to embrace the world. And I just did. I was like, I have to go back to work because I've got a thing to get to. I've got to get Bronte to theater. I was like, this thing's attached. Well, fuck. So I just rip it off. I like Hulk it off. I put
What else are you going to do?
I put my foot on the van and I begin to jerk and I pull the entire thing
in the carpool in the line.
Correct.
So
Oh my God. My kid would run back in the school and never come out again.
my Bretty was not into it. Let's
Right.
just. And so I throw it in the car. I've got like a whole piece of my van just in the car in the back seat. And she's like, I can't believe this has just happened. And I'm okay, well, it has happened. And so I'm driving. And then she's like, how are you this unbothered? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't understand how like you just ripped a huge chunk of the car off. Everyone watched. You dragged it across the parking lot. Then you got out and you ripped it off the car. You threw it in the car and you're just like turning on the radio. And I was like, what do you want from me? I'm like, what should I be doing for you right now? And she's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe this should be like an escalated feeling. And I was like, I mean, the car's drivable. Oh, and I also had to kick in the wheel well because the wheel well was brushing on the tire. Once I started driving, there was a loud noise because the wheel well had kind of like some piece of plastic had like was connected on, like it was like bent, so it was like hitting the wheel. So I had to stop again in the parking lot and kick it back into.
Oh my God.
And so she's like, I just feel like this should have a bigger reaction right now. And I was like, girl, you just got to roll with the punches someday.
Yeah.
Like right now, we just have
you
part of
had
the
places to be.
Yeah. Like,
places to be. And so I'm just like driving along with like the piece in the back. I was like, let's not tell your father. And I'm like, and then I'm like, grab my phone, call this, like Google this. And this is the mechanic. And I like call the mechanic and I'm like, hello, I have taken off a piece of my car and I don't know if it's essential. Tomorrow, will you look and tell me if this is an important thing or not?
Right.
And they were like, okay, come in at 8:00. I was like, I will see you tomorrow. So I show up today and they're like, do you have an appointment? I'm like, yeah, I've got like a piece of my car that's fallen off. And they're like, oh, yes, it's you.
They're probably so excited to like see what it is.
they're like, ooh.
Yeah, I'm like, come out to the parking lot. I'd love to show you. So I opened it up. I have to like pull this thing out. And it's like it's so big that it's like hitting the steering wheel and it got like stuck on the steering wheel because it's like a huge it's probably 6 feet.
What?
So I'm like getting it out. I'm like pulling it out. I'm like, here it is. I'm like holding it. I'm like, so I feel like I don't need this, but like I feel like I don't want to just like make that distinction myself. And like what? And so he's just like, well, wow, okay. And he's like, so this is cosmetic. He's like, you're probably fine without it. And then he's like, I could get some pieces for it, but like he's like, honestly, I mean, it might always kind of like want to dangle a little bit. And he's like, so what do you want to do? And he's like, it'd be a couple $100. And he's like, it'd be okay, but I wouldn't say it would be like rock solid fix. Like it's probably okay, but like it could have problems. And I was like, yeah, nah, just give it back to me. I'm just throwing it back in the van. So
what are you going to do with it?
I don't know. I need to figure that out because I can't be driving around with that in because Nick's going to see it and be like, why is there 6 feet of car in the back of the car?
The mechanics probably would have disposed of it for you.
Yeah, but then I was like, well, I don't want to dispose of it because what if I do decide I want it?
Oh, can you hide it?
Also was awkward, well, not awkward, but humorous, is the piece I was showing looked like it had hit maybe 97 other things because the paint was so short. I was like, clearly this is an item that has been through
It's seen some things. Yeah.
And I'm sitting to a door that's scraped to me. And I was like, you can see I tend to use vehicles like I bonk and scrape a bit. And
that's what I think cars should be for.
Yeah. And he's just like, okay. And so I was like, yeah, take it back. So I am going to have to figure out a place to keep it. Probably the apartment, which is where all things happen for me. I just keep a lot up there that I don't need.
You're going to have a 6-foot piece of car in your apartment?
Yeah, probably.
Under your bed.
I'll just put it under the bed. Exactly. That's what I was like. I could just slide it under the bed.
No one will know.
And then like
it's going to like stick out a foot. I bet, like from under the bed.
I could put it in like the guest room closet. I don't know. I don't feel like it's time to say goodbye but I also don't feel like it's worth me having the conversation.
Right.
Can I ask you, when you do bring it into the apartment, do you have to walk upstairs with it?
Oh, yes. I have to walk up 3 flights of stairs.
Amazing.
External stairs.
Can one of your kids be with you and record that? Because
I have it be Bronte.
I want to see it so badly.
wait, hey, on Nick just text. Okay, phew.
Nick
Nick
just texted. There's
texted me and
something
I was
missing on the
like, he was
car.
texting, well, I just didn't want him texting me being like, I can hear everything you're saying. I'm like, this is not the time. You never listened to me today. Now is not the moment.
Oh, are you at the house? Okay.
Yeah, I'm at the house. Okay.
Oh, too funny. Oh God. Well, I'm
So
glad.
That's amazing.
there you go. So just remember, not all car parts are essential parts.
They're not.
And that story like exceeded my expectations.
That's
So
pretty funny.
well done.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, that being said, how am I going to segue this one?
I.
I'm not. I'm just going to jump right into the next bit.
You know what? Sometimes segues are not essential.
That's it. Sometimes segues are not essential. We like them.
Excellent.
They are cosmetic,
They are absolutely cosmetic.
but they are not essential to the functioning of this podcast. So, what are you watching right now? This is a question that I ask every week in Patreon on Fridays, and it's because I genuinely am interested, not just doing it to be full of platitudes. So every Friday, it started just kind of as a thing, and now it's become like a thing. Um, and so, are you in the middle of something? Did you just finish a show that destroyed you? Are you one of these people that has like 6 shows going at once? All of us here, like the hosts, we ask this of each other because, it's what we do. We're like loving to watch stuff. We want to be invested in things. And when we're texting each other about plot twists or characters. And all of this is just like super good. But lately, we've also been thinking about some other stuff like platforms that we're on and choices that we're making. And so tonight, instead of just pretending that these two things are separate, like you can just like enjoy a show without thinking about any other external factors, we kind of do want to talk about it. And we're going to get into that a little bit later, not to make it a whole thing, but just to be kind of open with where we're at. And that's going to be some of the 2025 topical things of just like, what does it mean to be like navigating fandom spaces and enjoying content, given like some of the basically the political climate that we're living in. But honestly, we're not always consistent with this stuff. We can rationalize things, we can draw a line, and we can move those lines around. But we do think overall it's worth an examination. But before we get into that, we kind of wanted to frame it first in like the part of like, what are we watching before, how are we watching it, and some of like the other like ethical things behind it. So for right now, just what are you currently watching? And then beyond that, how did you choose it and who would you recommend it for?
I mean, to say I'm watching something, I have just watched one episode of a new drama, and that's Typhoon Family. Um, I'm on a writing deadline right now, so I'm probably not going to be watching much more in the next 2 weeks because I have to finish this book by Halloween. Um, but I mean, everybody's been recommending Typhoon Family. We've already talked about Typhoon Family, and it is Kim Min Ha and Lee Jun Ho. I don't think I have to say anymore, except it's Kim Min Ha and Lee Jun Ho in the 90s, which the 90s are just, they're where I want to be right now. They really are. Maybe not the 90s in South Korea because, there's some hard economic times going on, and that's really what the drama's about. But yeah, I mean, stellar cast and stellar episode 1. I did not realize something about episode 1 when I started watching it. You haven't started it yet, have you, Leah?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it, but I messaged Megan. I was like, oh, so I didn't know this was happening
Oh yeah.
in episode 1. And it's fine, but it was like something that was unexpected. And I was a little taken aback. Not bad at all, but I was just like, oh, this was a little bit sad. But what makes up for it is Lee Jun Ho's wardrobe in this drama. It's
Insane.
absolutely stellar. Yeah, but I mean, like we talked about it before, like when we watched Way Back Love, Kim Min Ha she's my crush right now. I just love her being on screen, and I can't recommend the drama based on story yet because I really don't know where it's going, but I can recommend it on characters, and so far I love everybody in it.
Yeah, so I have watched the first 4 episodes of Typhoon Family, so I'm caught up as of, like, when we're recording this. It's just a classic underdog story. I mean, that's what we're getting. It's like a less sad Itaewon Class, um, set in '98, but Park Sero-wi is like a flashy was a trust fund baby at one point, who wears wild clothes and loves plants. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
another florist. What the hell is happening here? This
yeah,
is my second
yeah,
florist drama.
it really does give like Itaewon Class vibes in like a completely another dimension. Do you know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
like he's not anything like Park Sero-wi, and it's not as like serious. Like Lee Jun-ho, I said this in like our chat, the three of us. Lee Jun-ho has this thing about him where he is the butt of the joke, but you're still laughing with him. Like he's still so charming,
Mm-hmm.
even when we are kind of laughing at him. Um, it- he's just so good. Like I like forgot how much I loved Lee Jun-ho, which a horrible thing to forget. And then started watching this, and I'm just like, "Ugh, this is why." And then Kim Min-ha is just, well, she's also incredibly captivating to look at. She has really good chemistry with Lee Jun-ho. They're teasing maybe a romance, although I'm not really sure. Right now, I just like love their friendship. Like in honesty, they're just like a good team. So like when I say they have chemistry, I just mean like as partners, kind of as I don't know, trader buddies, whatever.
I'm really hoping for a romance though. Like I
I
really
think
want it.
I think they're
Even if it's
taking us.
secondary, like I want it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be secondary, I think. I don't think the romance is going to take center stage in any way. It is pretty plot heavy. But it might be secondary. I think they might have something. God, he's just so charming. And then, well, Leah, tell us what you're watching, and then I'll.
So I started with Genie Make a Wish, and I've currently paused it simply because sometimes I just feel like I get a rec that just feels like the universe is like sending me a message. And so I can never explain when I get those. And again, it's like never personal. It's never like one person does it and I'm like, ooh, that's the one. But it was just in this case, I think somebody just got me at the right moment and they wrote me and they were like, I just feel like you need to be watching Mask Girl. And Megan recently had kind of mentioned Mask Girl again and kind of had been like, I think you'd like it. And then I got this like rec from a listener and I was like, you know what? Genie Make a Wish, I'm liking it better than I expected, but I'm not like, again, I still just wasn't feeling like, yes, I'm like all in. So I was like, okay, like I can hit pause and just see what Mask Girl's all about. And I honestly am going to say that like I didn't know anything about it. And I was just kind of like, I was a little bit like, had a little attitude, like, like, okay, let's see what you got, Mask Girl. Like
Right.
people saying, I'm going to like you. Let's see. It is, so I am only in episode 3. We're gonna do a pod on it, so I'm not gonna get into like the plot really, but I'm gonna say that like this is what I've been looking for, and I'm gonna say that this is what I want more of, and not necessarily that I want more like dark thriller, because that's not necessarily. I am enjoying that this is a dark thriller, but there's certain like it just feels fresh. It feels interesting. It feels like I'm not fully predicting what's going to happen next. It doesn't feel like it's like experimental, but it feels like I am genuinely like, here's a thriller. I think my problem with Tempest was like, yes, there were twists and turns. Yes, there were times that like I can't say I like was like this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, but I was never surprised. Like when there were twists, I was never that surprised. In this, I'm just constantly like, and it's not that this is like shockingly new. It just feels contemporary and it feels interesting and it feels like it's grappling with things that I'm interested in about. And one thing that Megan and I just talked about really loosely is it's generally not good so far. I mean, I'm very new into it. I'm only 3 episodes, but it's only 9 episodes. Is while people are not good, they do show reasons for it. People aren't just bad to be bad. And it's usually like character driven, like how, and also how your external can influence your internal. And I think it's being done really, really masterfully. So in this case, I'm going to say that this drama so far delivers its flowers. Maybe it'll fall apart for me, but I honestly don't expect it to. Like, I think this feels like a breath of fresh air. I know it came out last year, but to me, this just feels like, yes, I'm sad I sat on it. And this is this is a vibe that I would like more of.
Yeah, I'm really glad because it's like Mask Girl is a drama that I watched a while ago, and I've just been thinking it just is like a drama that I keep bringing up because it was so good and it was so different. And so I'm rewatching it now because I'm like, I need to be with Leah on this journey. Like, and also it's been a long time. So I didn't want you to like talk about something and I'm like, I don't remember that. Especially if we're gonna podcast about it, I have to rewatch. Like it's been too long. And it is funny to as I'm rewatching to see how like my memory wasn't reliable about certain things. It was only because like I thought something happened a certain way, or I like literally completely forgot this one character existed, and I was like, oh, forgot about them. And it was kind of cool. It's I'm really enjoying watching it again.
Okay. Well, what is a drama that you're eager to watch before the end of the year and why? And just pick one.
So did you both know that Park Seo-joon is coming out with a romance? A second chance romance?
I did not.
Isn't that the
Fox-
one that's like set in the like?
It's in December. It's starting in December.
Isn't it like set in like the 60s or 70s? Am I?
No, you're thinking of the Gongyu.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Gong Yu one. You're right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and that's not until 2026.
No, I don't
So-
know about the Park Seo-joon one.
Park Seo-joon, it's called Waiting for Gyeong-do, and he is Lee Gyeong-do, and it's a second chance romance between him and his first love. So they fall in love when they're 20, and then they break up, and then they meet up again when the heroine is Seo Woo. So they fall in love when they're 20, break up, meet again when they're 28, date again, break up. And now he is a reporter working on a story involving a scandal with her husband. I think it's a cheating scandal with her husband. So they meet again, and he's the reporter on this scandal that she's involved with.
Wow. I
Ooh.
literally did not hear about this one at all. This is brand new information.
So here's the thing. It releases in December. I don't know if we're going to get it in December, but I'm crossing my fingers.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know where it's going to be. Yeah.
I think it's probably means, yeah, fingers crossed.
I'm hoping it's Netflix. I'm hoping it's Netflix. I'm hoping that we get it like on immediate release. But yeah, it starts in December, and it's going to be a Saturday, Sunday weekly release.
Okay.
So yeah, waiting for Gyeongdo.
Yeah,
That's
that
fun.
looks really good. I haven't heard of that. I'm waiting for Dear X. So I'm actually not quite sure what this is about because all of the like promo for it has been a little like vague, and I'm kind of okay with that, but I think it might be like a love triangle, but it looks like it's going to be like a thriller. So it stars Kim Yoo-jung and Kim Young-dae and Kim Do-hoon.
I have to make a correction really quick.
Yeah.
Sorry. I said the character's name. The female character's name is Seo Woo, and she's played by Won Jian. So I read that backwards.
Oh, Won Jian.
So
okay.
and waited for Gyeongdo. Yeah, and it says it's a romantic comedy too, which I think is interesting if she's got a cheating husband scandal.
I can't decide next. Like, I'll probably continue to dabble at Genie Make-A-Wish until, like, I've either gotten sick of it or I finished it. But I'm kind of right now debating between after Mask Girl jumping into one of two. So Typhoon Family, both of you are watching. I'm only hearing good things. So I would like to see that. And then I'm also, I love Tweushik.
Yes,
and
I want to watch that one too.
Would You Marry Me, which is a 90-day fake marriage in order to win a luxurious newlywed home.
And it's also Jung So Min, who's another one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I
also it's Marriage of Convenience, which is like your favorite.
Yes. And so it's just kind of like, how do I say no to that? So I've got to decide like which one first, and I'll probably just do like trailers. Watch trailer 1, watch trailer 2, and then just pick on vibes. That's my guess. But both of those sound really promising. I too like the 90s. I also am like just interested in the era, in the IMF crash era. And I love A Marriage of Convenience, and I love Junho, and I love Ushik, and I love both the actresses in this. So I just think like,
You can't go wrong.
yeah,
mean-
it kind of just feels like a polycule. Like I should just lump them all together and like see what happens.
Typhoon Family is like actually presenting business stuff in a way that I don't hate. Like, who am I? They're like talking about like
because it's not like it's not a Chable situation. It's a small
Maybe that's
business.
why.
You know what I
Maybe
mean?
that's
So
why.
it's
Remember, you also introduced me to Nana for the first time, which was in Memorials or In the Ring.
True.
And
I
that
love
was
that.
all small government,
Mhm.
but yet compelling. And literally land deals.
That was so good. I'm still like, I want to watch Into the Ring again. Nana is so good. She is so good.
I think that is I've just realized I think that is going to, right now, it's my alt girl crush.
Yeah, she's incredible. She looks so good at Mask Girl. Just wait. She looks so good.
So, okay. And then, so, okay, speaking of sticking your head, what's a drama that you've watched this year? So, I mean, we're not at the end of 2025 to do our kind of reflective back, but if you think about a drama that you've watched this year, what is one that just has stuck in your head, like that you think about?
Way Back Love all the time.
Oh, interesting. I never
Yeah.
think about it.
I really
Oh,
don't. I
that's
thought
okay.
I would.
That's
I thought I
okay.
would.
I do. Like even watching the first episode of Typhoon Family, I just was like thoughts of Way Back Love just swirling in my head. Yeah, I don't know. It's tragic. It's it's very angsty. I don't know. It's one of those I emoted a lot watching it, and it felt good. It's bitter, even though it was bittersweet. It felt really good. It's the last drama that I binged. Like I haven't binged anything since then, and I really like that feeling. So I think that's another reason why it stuck with me is I haven't had that feeling. I haven't had a drama that's done that to me again since. And I chase that feeling. Not necessarily like the angsty romance feeling or the bittersweet, but I chase the wanting to binge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay. Fair.
I did binge First Love, but that was a J drama, so that's different. Because you guys don't know that one.
For me, it's Study Group. Still friggin' love Study Group. It's one I might rewatch because I apparently am rewatching stuff now. I just saw like some clips that came up in like my Instagram algorithm, and I'm like, oh my god, it was so good. And it was same like I binged it. I binged it hard. I finished it so fast. And I was like really immersed in this like again, it was a high school drama, I don't know, but I was really immersed in like the world of these high schoolers and in their little study group. And I just loved it. I loved it. Still one of my top dramas of the year.
So I'm gonna go with Cinderella's Closet, which we have like neither of
Oh.
you have seen, and I kind of do think that you both should watch. It's very short. It's a Japanese drama. It's very short. And it's I don't know. I think to me it's a fun premise that we don't ever really see, and it is a love story. It does have an HEA. It also the male lead prefers to dress and style himself in more feminine clothing, but is not identifying as transgender. Um and then it's like the female, the female lead, the only issue with it is that the female lead just didn't work for me as well as I wanted it to, and I want to always like champion female leads, but this one just did have like it's a little bit of a broad role, maybe a little bit too broad for me. But other than that, I'm not coming for this drama. I think it is interesting. I think it is, I don't know. I just think that Haruka and Hikaru are both super cute. And Hikaru is just like gorgeous. And I always just love to see, like, I do like watching like makeup and glam aesthetics and like watching people do themselves up. And so there's just an element of that that's fun. And the premise is that they're kind of like besties who then, develop feelings. And I don't know. I just think it's fresh and cute. It's short. And I always like to play with gender because I think gender's dumb. And so, I like to have fun with it and play with it. Or I said I don't think gender is dumb. I think binary is boring. And so I always appreciate when we can like play around with it. So from there, how about, this is a question that Megan asked in the Patreon recently, and I thought it was a good question. So I wanted to close out kind of our like fun chat with what is a rec that you've received that landed or didn't land?
So I'm gonna like I already like half made a liar out of myself just before the last question because I did binge First Love, the J drama, which is what I want to talk about for this one. So we have glazed the hell out of Gavin for his recommendations, and like I even did a podcast with Gavin and Sarah from Afternoona Asks on this drama. So when that drops, I will let you all know, and you can listen to it over on Afternoona Asks. But it's my first J drama, and it won't be my last, and it's First Love, and it's on Netflix. It's only 9 episodes. And I've said it a million times and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm going to say it again. Like, I love the sad love, especially when it ends in an HEA. And this one ends in a very hard one, slow burn, drawn out. We better get there. And we did HEA. And also, it's bringing me over to something new, which is J dramas, which is why, when you mentioned Cinderella's Closet, I'm like, I'm down for that. And also bringing me to new actors. Because First Love is a second chance romance, which is also like it's going to be hard to not convince me to watch a second chance romance. The actors who play the high schoolers are so fantastic, and the actors who play them as adults are so fantastic. So like you love these people the whole way through. And watching them first fall in love in high school and then seeing where they end up when they're adults. Just so well done. And also it's a drama that we talked about exposition, I think, last week, and how sometimes, because we were talking about the exposition with Genie Make a Wish, and how sometimes a long drawn out exposition can work, and sometimes we want to just kind of be plunked down in the middle of it. And we are plunked down in the middle of it in the beginning of First Love, and you don't know what's going on, and you're not meant to. And the way that it unravels is just absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, it totally landed. I will not stop talking about this drama. I'm so excited for the episode that we recorded on it. And I hope that you two will maybe give it a chance because I think you would both love it.
I'm sorry, where was it? Where'd you watch
Netflix.
it?
Netflix. And it's 9 episodes, and like 9 like less than an hour episodes. You know what I mean? Or like just about an hour episodes.
I think it's in my recommended. Like, I think I saw it like come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tempest didn't land. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but Tempest, that was that was one of the ones I was wrecked the most. And
You
it was like,
specifically were wrecked.
I'm gonna be straight with you people. Political thrillers are usually not gonna land with me. Into the Ring was different because, again, that was like small government.
I know, it's so weird, but it did. I mean, it just hit different.
It did hit different, probably because it was Nana. But anyway, I'm sorry it didn't land. I am sorry, but it didn't, and it was kind of like, it's kind of like when you just like slowly let the air out of the balloon, and it's just like, and then it has like at the end. Like, that's me. That was my experience watching Tempest.
I mean, it's never fun to have people wreck something and then you're just like, so one that I don't even think people like wrecked it for me, but like kind of did, I think I just got caught up in the hype and excitement, was When the Stars Gossip.
Oh,
You
Because
did
it was
get caught up in the hype and how like it and how like wild it like the
yeah,
premise
and well,
was.
just like the beginning of people talking about like, the crooked sperm swimming and like there were gonna be like singing mice. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like this sounds fun and this sounds escapist. And look, for me, how it landed felt very, and this maybe this is a good segue. Well, no,
It no, I think it is
yeah,
a good segue.
is it landed in kind of like a more, okay, I'm just gonna say it, and this doesn't mean that if you liked it, I think that you hold these views. So I think this is really like important to name. For me, it did land a little bit more. The things I was reflecting on or noticing that took me out was a pretty hard what I felt like was a pretty hard pro-life stance that felt difficult for me to integrate given the realities of the world I'm living in right now. And that may have been an intention, that may not have been an intention of the show. If you enjoyed that show, do I think that like you dislike women or believe women shouldn't have a right to choose? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But for me, the fact that the show kind of seemed to have that be part of the characterization, it took me out to the point that I was unable to even just be like, oh, it's fun. I was like, I actually feel like not good about it.
fair.
And other people had very different things. And again, just wanting to name that. So that's where I guess the segue is that like in fun can be hard. And this was a topic that I'm talking a lot right now because I guess this was like a topic that I kind of wanted to unpack because it's been on my mind. And so are you okay if I take the lead here with
Yeah,
this?
Yeah, go ahead.
absolutely.
Okay. I just don't want to feel like I know I'm talking a lot tonight.
No, I don't think so.
But if you have been a human being living in 2025 for any amount of time, and especially, we are going to come from this from like, a more of a US centered space. I don't think that it's like exclusionary and only for American audiences tonight, what we're talking about, but I do think that like we're coming from that landscape. Um, shit's complicated and we're not like speaking theoretically either. We are people like creating things and putting them into the world. And so I think where this really came to a head was recently, where one of the platforms that we host this podcast on is Spotify. And right now they are running recruitment ads for US Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, that listeners are receiving if they don't pay for ad-free services. And Megan and I were both watching Tempest on Disney Plus during the time that Disney suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely because he made comments around Charlie Kirk's death. And that kind of led to accusations of censorship, potential corporate, well, not potential, corporate cowardice. And like in over the mix of that was like the gloating from the president over it. So there was a lot of folks who, me personally included, who ended up like suspending Disney. And we're going to get into that in a little bit, like my choices behind that at the time. And then also like all of us published books on Amazon, which not only like donated to the inauguration and CEO was like in attendance. It's also been like just like linked to declines of brick and mortar bookstores and, many other things. Yet we publish books and they are part of like the publishing landscape. So all this to say is that like what we wanted to talk about is like we're in this and these are things that like sometimes we've made peace with, sometimes we lose sleep over it, but we are trying to create content like books and podcasts and be parts of fandoms. And it's because we love it. And we've spoken a lot about how it brings us joy and connection. But yet, we do bump into these like real hard questions of like, what platforms are we putting our work on? Like, what kind of ads might be running alongside our content?
Oh.
Um, you know, and that stuff doesn't really like neatly always fit into like the fun and joy part. Um, and then also overlaying that is that some of us have more options than others. Like if you're working multiple jobs, you might not have time to like do a lot of research on companies or values or ethics, or you might really need representation where you can find it. And that could be queer stories, stories about your culture, stories that reflect your disability. And that might matter more than like the ethics of where you're trying to access it, because seeing yourself on screen isn't a luxury. It's like actually just survival. And if you're a creator trying to make a living, you might use Amazon or Spotify or YouTube, even though you know about issues, because that's just where the distribution is. So most of us aren't really consistent about this stuff. And from like where I sit, that's okay. We have rules we follow most of the time, and then moments we don't. We might care intensely about certain issues, but we don't have the bandwidth to care as intensely and as consistently about everything. And so it's kind of like we're all doing our best with competing feelings at the same time. So I guess from us, it was like, what if we got curious about how we navigate it, us, rather than like being like, let's talk about like dogmatic, how should everyone feel? It's kind of like, what are we, just being candid, like, how are we viewing some of these things? Where do we draw our lines? Are they consistent? Do they shift? What kind of privileges or pressures are shaping our decisions? And then maybe most importantly, like, what are we learning about ourselves as we're honest about these choices? And that's not to have a guilty lens, but to just kind of understand the real complexity of where we are in the times that we're living in. Because I think that like when you reflect on your own decision making and view it through the lens of all of its contradictions and compromises, it's just part of being a real human and showing that we're doing the work of understanding ourselves, our values, and also the systems that we're moving through. So, yeah, so tonight we're asking a couple of these questions ourselves. And if you want to dig in on that for yourself, great. And if it doesn't feel relevant or good for you right now, or you need a break from thinking about that, it's okay too. We're kind of just all in it together. So, just to open up the conversation, like, is there a choice that you've made in terms of engaging with like platforms that you have lost sleep over to some degree?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of them I do, but like one that I have like hemmed and hawed over, like since since the whole Stephen Colbert thing, is whether or not to get Paramount Plus, which I don't have, because this is where I think it's like that double-edged sword of, so in case anybody's unfamiliar, even before the Jimmy Kimmel thing happened, Stephen Colbert um basically was told like when the season ends in May, his show ends forever, like the Late Show, um, and not just the Late Show, Stephen Colbert, but like the whole institution of it, like going back, to David Letterman, and it's done. Like, and one thing that I love is that since then, like Stephen Colbert has just no holds barred, saying
Right.
whatever the fuck he wants, and I love it, and I absolutely love it. And in addition to that, when this all happened, it was right after, because Paramount, so he's on CBS, Paramount owned CBS, and Paramount had then just signed a huge deal with Trey Parker and Matt Stone, $1 billion deal for their entire backlog of South Park, like all 20 whatever seasons, 24 seasons, I think. And then new seasons starting on Paramount Plus. In the very first episode that they dropped, they absolutely roasted CBS and Paramount and President Trump. And so what I am kind of like losing sleep over, which I think goes with like what we are trying to do here, is I don't want to support the media conglomerate that is kowtowing to a spiteful president, but I also want to support the creators that are on these networks. So how do you do that? Right? I want to watch South Park. I can't right now. And I think Paramount's also like, because South Park's also Comedy Central, right? Like, isn't Paramount also the road to Comedy Central? So like The Daily Show, like I can't watch I don't have cable TV. Like I got rid of cable a long time ago because I was like, I just need a couple of streaming services and I'll be all good. And now I have a million more streaming services and I'm paying like $1 billion more dollars than I ever did when I had cable, but whatever. This is all just to say is that I think that's where the sort of paradox is for me, is to be able to support creators and entertainers who are saying the things that I want to be said in a public media space, but not wanting to pay the people who are trying to censor them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, totally complicated.
yeah,
Yeah.
I struggle with that too. Like, so what I struggle with, like when it comes to say like boycotts and stuff, is that so I think the Disney Plus one was very effective because there was like there was a very specific goal, okay, like with that boycott, and it was effective. But sometimes with some boycotts, I worry that the only people who are really going to be hurt are like the average worker, like say like Target. So I worry that like is my boycott like the CEOs are still going to pay themselves just as much money, if not more. Like who am I actually hurting or helping? And then that also could be me just not being as like educated about it, but I try. But I do like I worry about that. I'm like, what am I actually accomplishing? And who am I hurting? And just like to think like the average Joe who's like working on the Colbert Show. Like there's like staff members of these streaming services that like I worry about them. Are they going to be laid off? Because again, the CEOs aren't the ones making the
Right.
decisions. They're not going to cut their pay, and so it always stresses me out.
That's really valid because, like, if Target loses money, which Target has lost money, like,
Yeah.
since the whole DEI thing went down,
Mhm.
but who's going to get hurt first? Like, if Target downsizes, nobody up here is getting downsized.
No, it
It's
stresses me
everybody
out.
down here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do lose sleep over that.
And I think, again, just to like reframe for people listening, is like this was meant to be like kind of a vulnerable conversation that like us here are trying to grapple with the fact that like we don't personally feel like some of these things have easy answers or neat resolutions. So in listening to this, like that's the space we're approaching this from.
Yeah.
And we all kind of approach it differently. Like I have pretty much stopped shopping at Target. And again, that's not something I'm going to like explore right now, but like it's not because I'm like, fuck workers, obviously, just like the things you're saying are different. So, I mean, we're just kind of
Right.
coming from this from like a human space. And this was an interesting conversation that you brought up with like Paramount Plus, because my sister and I both landed on like really opposite things, but not like antagonistically so. So she was like, I'm not getting it because of like the Colbert. Like we had a conversation about it. And she's like, yeah, I'm done. Like we canceled it because of that. And it was the same day. I'm like, I feel like I just canceled you out because I just got it because of what South Park is doing. So we like
Canceled.
literally
That's what I mean.
out,
Yeah.
and we both took it in different ways. And I don't feel like either is like super correct. It's just kind of like how because I was like, I do want to be watching that and I want to be watching The Daily Show. And I also fully understand the other reasoning as well, because again, it's like kind of all effed. And for me, the choice I lost
Yeah.
sleep over was Disney. And real simply, because I'm on my BTS shit. And all like I love rewatching BTS stuff that's on Disney. Like, Are You Sure is like my
Oh,
comfort boring show to watch. Like, so
right.
yes, I was watching Tempest and I was like, fuck, but I also like wasn't like loving Tempest. So it wasn't like a personal sacrifice. But it
Right.
was like, Are You Sure gets me through moments. Like when I can't sleep, I will put on Are You Sure? Because it's the most boring stuff in the world. And I love it completely. And when I say boring, I'm saying with affection.
Right.
It's like them walking around like Dick's Home Goods store. So we did cancel it and we resubscribed. And so I basically was like, I'm doing it to like make a statement. And then when he was reinstated, do I think these are companies that just like are good? And this was an oops? No.
No.
It was
Yeah.
also like, that's what I did. And then, I also would like sit and think about that too. And then I'd be annoyed I was thinking about it because I was like, God damn it, there's so much to be stressed about. And like, these are meant to be spaces for fun and joy. So also just naming that, like, we're not saying like, we're not wanting to spend a lot of time like taking away from that. I just think that like, especially it was once we saw those ICE ads come onto Spotify, I was like, I do think we need to start to talk about the fact that like this shit is hard from our perspective.
Yeah.
Not because we want to like bum everyone out. It's just like, let's speak to the elephant in the room.
Yeah. Sometimes I struggle too with like, what is my personal line? Because like I think like once you start like saying, well, I'm not gonna be a patron of that, like I mean, what am I like? Part of me is like, where am I drawing this line? Because I
Yeah.
could find something terrible in
Right.
and so I grapple with that because then I'm like, I don't want to be a hypocrite or I don't know. I really do grapple with like, where is my
Absolutely.
personal line? And also, I don't even
I
know.
think it's
I
fluid.
don't know.
I think the line is
Yeah.
fluid.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's
look,
because it's
I am
hard.
I'm on X, which
Mm,
really is Twitter. Let's be real. I fucking hate the
whatever.
name X.
Me too.
And I'm on it for BTS stuff only. I have blocked everything else out. I don't search up other content. I don't want to see. I know it's a bad platform. I know there's
Right.
bad things on it. I know I'm being complicit in like participating in it. I went to Blue Sky, but then I was like, all my BTS community and friends are on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so I am there because like I want to be in community with these people. And so yes, I'm making in some ways poor choices, and I'm also getting through my day and doing good work in other spaces because of it. And that's what we're saying. Like
Right.
it's for us and how we're viewing it. Like some people might feel like they're very purist and they can like cut lines everywhere. I'm still going to say that like if you want me to be pedantic, I don't want to get into like but what aboutism. But,
Yeah.
like, even just the fact that, like, I've got an Apple like, nothing is pure.
Nothing
Nothing
is.
is. Yeah, and I guess what God, I mean, when you told us, I did not see that about Spotify until you told us. So, my heart sank for sure. Like I felt a little ill. Um, and I really did have to like sit with myself, but part of me is like, not that we're not that we're like Superman or we're like saviors of the world, but I'm like, what good is it doing like limiting people's access who want access to our podcast? Like I struggle with that. Like I don't want to limit people's access to us.
Yeah, and I think that, like, what I came to with it too and again, I don't know, and we're not saying that, like, this isn't a big podcast to justify, like, why we would keep being on a platform. Like, we don't know. Like, we're basically being open. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
we don't
we're just chatting.
and I don't know. Um, and also to be like, it's ads, and when people get ads on Spotify, it's because they're not paying for it, and I wanna be really sensitive to those intersections too, of, like, maybe
Yeah.
you're not paying for it because 'cause you're just like, "Fuck it." Maybe you're not paying for it because you're really trying to budget, and we're seeing, like, an increased pressure in financial resources everywhere, and so then for us to be like, "Well, people who, like, are experiencing those situations and not paying for ad-free content, and now we don't wanna have like, whatever, we're putting it somewhere else. Like, yeah, are we caught like, I don't wanna inadvertently be causing harm there too.
Right.
Same.
And so I think, again, like, when we're saying this, these are just, like, conversations that we're open to having and to be reflecting on. So, yeah, just with that as the lens, like, yeah, what is something I think we're probably all gonna have the same answer for this.
Yes.
What's one thing that you're genuinely uncertain about? Amy wrote Spotify. Spotify.
Yeah.
I feel genuinely uncertain about it. I I think we all are in agreement that we deplore what's happening with ICE. Like Amy's in the Chicago area.
They're in my town.
Yeah, so
They're in my town now. Like it's terrible. I hate what's happening. But I also, like you're saying, like we this is what we do here. We don't get paid for it, but it's a full-time job. And we hope that one day it is an actual job for us. We wouldn't be against that. Um and so we are also, in addition to like not wanting to limit access to who can listen to us, who wants to listen to us, it's also a matter of like limiting access to where we can be too, right? And try it's the same thing with like like what you were mentioning about Amazon with like we are authors. We cannot not be on Amazon. We
Yeah.
can't. I write for Audible. Audible is owned by Amazon. I can't like that is part of my livelihood. Um and this too, like if we it's such a slippery slope. Um but yeah, I mean, we know that Spotify is selling ads to to ICE propaganda. So what if we pull from Spotify and then we find out, okay, YouTube is doing it too, and then we find out, again, it's that line. Like, where do we draw that line in the sand? And I honestly don't know. I
yes.
don't know.
So I have just signed up to do volunteer training. because I mean, like, I'm gonna cry even talking about it, is like they're having an uptick in, like, not in our immediate area, but like in our greater area where
Mhm.
at schools, like when they're doing drop off, they're like they're holding up children.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Then that baits the parents to come for their children, and then the
Yep.
parents get arrested.
That's
And
sick.
so they're looking for volunteers like me, who are like privileged middle class white ladies, to
Yes.
come basically be in the parking lot to like look for this to occur so that we can interrupt it and try to be of use.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like in elementary schools. Like, this is fucking heartbreaking. And so
Yeah.
I mean it.
Using
Yeah.
children to bait their parents.
And so, yes, it's heartbreaking. It's disgusting. And then to know that, like, yeah, we're on platforms that are like financially benefiting from like ad revenue of this and seeing the complexity of it. So I guess, yeah, I'm just saying it all to like, again, name that, like,
I don't know what to do. That's what it is. I don't know what to do. I
and I don't
don't
want
know
to be,
what the right answer is.
and the other thing that I want to be important about it with it and not doom spiral is because like there was some hesitancy to even have this conversation, you know, because we were also like, we don't want to like leave and then have people be like, now we just feel horrible too. Thank you for that. Thank you for the doom looping. And now we all feel traumatized.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's not how we want to finish this either, because I guess what I want to also just name is not knowing is different than hopelessness. And so I do think that it's really, really important to do the work of like self-questioning, not letting perfect be the enemy of the good, of grappling with heart, because I think it's also can be so overwhelming that you just become avoidant because your brain can only hold so much.
That's the
And
way
so,
I feel lately. I feel like I am like so overloaded that I almost can't I feel like I can't even process the severity of things anymore. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Like I'm
because your
like, is
brain
this a
has
big deal? I'm not
part,
even sure.
or you just become numb to it, like where people will be like, there's like another, like, I don't know if it's like a meme or what, but like where I've really felt like it when I've seen it, where it's like, you know, you're like looking at like the fucking firebomb of everything and then being like, ah, yes, this is what happens to empires. And then like go back to like, you
Yeah.
know, looking for hats or whatever it is. And I'm like, I feel like that can be my space sometimes where I can be like, yeah, I guess this is just what happens with empires. And now I'm going to look for a sequined, you know, jacket to go to a drag show. And like, then I'll stop and be like, this is actually crazy. But like, yeah, I can't be in that space all the time, nor is it healthy to be in that space all the time. And it actually would be depleting and harmful to be in that space all the time. So again, like as we keep we are just repeating the same things over and over, but we don't want to leave you with a feeling of hopelessness or fuck itness or anything else. So I think like the last question we had, just to kind of like round out the conversation for tonight, and I think it's just an ongoing conversation and reflection point that we all can have in community. But what's something that keeps you going when navigating these questions feels hard?
So I'm trying to do what I can to use my, middle-aged white lady privilege for good. Um, I will admit, so I've been to both No King's Day protests so far. The first one I was nervous just because it was like the first of its kind and like what is this going to be like? And it was very pleasant. This past one, I was very scared to go. I will admit. I was very scared to go. But on the same token, I was like, I cannot not go. Um, and I went in my inflatable cow costume with with my friend Mindy, who went in her inflatable unicorn costume, and it was empowering and healing to see that there are thousands locally, millions nationally who want to be good humans
Yeah.
and who want um to see us taken care of by good humans. Um and I feel like that's sort of the light in the dark for me right now. And even like do I doom scroll? Absolutely. But I also purposely follow creators who can help spoon feed me what I need to know
Yeah.
and also make me laugh.
Same.
Like, please, everybody go follow Amanda's Mild Takes because she is absolutely keeping all of us sane right now. But yeah, I think it is this idea of community. Like we talk about all the time with this podcast and the community of this podcast. And I think I'm not to like pat myself on the back or pat us all on the back, but what we are doing here is trying to keep that humanity, that community going. And so I think, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing to stay hopeful. Um, and yeah, I was scared to go to a protest, but I went and I felt like a little percentage healed. So
Good. Yeah, I would say for me, it's like creating art. So obviously, like writing my books keeps me going because I feel like my humanity and my empathy are going to be in my books. Like you kind of are your books. And I would also say like this podcast is a form of art and what we do on here and things that we talk about. We talk about empathy. We talk about relating to people who are not like us. Or, yeah, people who are different than us, like just relating to other people in other shoes. and and then also like my kids, like I use things as a lesson. I'll use news as a lesson. I've really been delving for some reason when like present day is super chaotic, I fall back onto history. I love history. Always been like a passion of mine. Um, just because history repeats itself. And there is something soothing to me to see that it's cyclical. I don't know how to describe that really. I actually just listened to no lie about 10 hours of a podcast on Marie Antoinette. Um I think I've talked about this podcast before. It's the Vulgar History podcast, which she says it's a feminist women's history comedy podcast. I think that's what she calls it. Um Hearing her talk about Marie Antoinette and with the backdrop of the French Revolution for like 10 hours in 5 parts was incredible. Like it really soothed me. I was obsessed. Like my husband was like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, Antoinette podcast for like 3 days. Yeah, so like those are the kind of things that keep, and like honestly this like just signing in every Wednesday to this podcast, I'm like, okay, that's what I've something about the regularity of this is also very comforting.
Yeah, I think that for me, it is trying to also remember like when we're like voices in like, we're looking at each other on like, a video platform. And sometimes I feel like I'm just like, yeah, yapping in whatever room I can get access to do this podcast. um, that people interacting with it might be in spaces where they're really isolated in their community. They might have intersections, I can't even speak anymore, that make existing right now feel extra fraught, extra scary, extra painful, extra targeted. You might be in areas that aren't even isolated, like San Francisco is just up the road from me. And we know that at this moment, the Trump administration's poised to send dozens of federal agents into the Bay Area for immigration enforcement, which could come down as far as my town or not. Just knowing it's like escalating in my area, in my local city. That become not that it's not painful seeing it happen in Chicago, not that it's not painful seeing it happen in Portland, but knowing that like it gets closer to home too, it hits
it hits different.
hits
totally
equally
does.
hard,
Yeah.
and it hits in a different way because then you're
Yeah.
just like, now this is like in my personal space.
Of
And
course.
so I know we have so many listeners that are in the Bay Area and more in the urban Bay Area than I am. I'm on like the very outest fringe. And so knowing how that's going to impact those people who are friends or people that I interact with a lot. And just like the fact that it just creates extra hardship, extra pain, extra suffering, is just like, yeah, I guess for me, this isn't meant to be negative either. Like, so what I'm saying is that like I feel then called to keep hope, to keep showing up and keeping strong and keep believing, because I do know that at the end of the day, even just logically, like without even having like any delulu, numbers wise and logically, there are far more people who agree with us and who know that a lot of this is just absolutely reprehensible. And it's a far greater number than the opposite. And so that gives me hope and that keeps me going. And it makes me think again of leaning into like the joy is resistance. And that if in all of this, it's just like, there are days where like, there are times like even today where I was like, I could fake sick for the podcast tonight because I'm so tired. But then I was like, but I'm not, because like first I'm not sick, and I could just also say I'm too tired, I can't do it. But like I was like, no, because it is ultimately good for me to dig in and show up every week. It's a time to be having friendship, having chats, having conversations. I always feel better at the end of it. And then I hope that we put something out that, of course we get some people who are like, fuck you that you didn't like whatever and whatever. But for the most part, I think that like it is something people are voluntarily engaging with and finding friendships and commonality with each other in spaces like our Patreon, but then also just maybe it's making their commute a little bit less shitty, or their walk around the block, or their house cleaning. And so good. And same with writing romantic fiction right now, the same kind of call to action of just like my creative spaces that I'm retreating to relax and find respite are so important for me right now. And so I do want to add, my role in that.
Absolutely.
So so I think that's how I kind of want to close it for like listeners too, to just think that like what are you also doing to navigate things when they feel hard, because you're making decisions on a constant basis. We're all the same in this. We are all in it together for this. And so, what is keeping you lifted or lit up when there's times where it feels really hard or really dark? And so, if you want to let us know, actually, I think, letting us know, and this isn't like a tokenistic thing. This is actually like doing work in practice, because in sharing that out, like if you respond to like a social media post, or if you respond to like this question on our Patreon, like when we post this episode, you might be giving other people ideas too. And also just kind of, again, like when we focus on that kind of space, like we're putting intentionality into it, and I think we're giving it power. So I think that's where we close tonight, is to say that like things are hard and there's still a lot more good than there is bad.
Also, can I just say, sorry, but if anyone wants to listen to the Vulgar Podcast History with me this month, she is doing Mary Shelley in honor of Halloween. So I am starting.
Oh, that's fun.
First, she has 2 podcasts about Mary Shelley's mother, who is alone fascinating.
Yes.
And then she's going to go into Mary Shelley. So I'm just saying, this podcast is so good, guys. So if you want to join and hear it with me this month, dig in.
Can I layer on that one other recommendation?
Yeah.
So in my top 5 favorite books of all time is a book that's called Passion. I apologize. It's
Okay.
Passion. It's about the muses of romantic poets.
Yeah.
I remember when you were. I remember.
Yes, I remember.
The author is Jude Morgan, and 2 of the POV characters. One is Mary Wollstonecraft, who's
her mother,
who is fucking amazing.
Uh-huh.
And then Mary Shelley, who invents science fiction and is the baddiest baddie, and had the
really cool.
misfortune to want to fuck Pierce by Shelley, who's the worst, but was like involved with like the whole romantic poet scene. So anyway, I highly recommend. It's Muse by Jude Morgan. So listen to this podcast with Megan, then read Passion with Jude Morgan. It's an excellent book. Jude Morgan's a fantastic author, but this book is thick and dense, but it's just full of really rich characterization.
We'll link it all in the show notes.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll link everything in the show notes. My goal is to like be so good at something that the host, I think her name's Ann Foster of Vulgar History, like invites me on to be a guest. I just want to be a guest where she's like telling it to me and I just get to react and laugh. That would be a dream. So love her. Anyway, there we go. We closed. Good close.
High note.
High note.
Okay. And on that note, we will close it out and we will say
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoon of Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoon of Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!